All right, welcome back to BB90, presented by Feldman Chevrolet of Highland. I'm Justin, joined by Tanner today, and we are back after a little bye week action. Much needed bye week with some injuries and just I think a good little reset. I feel like you've got a big time 3-game stretch here towards the end of the season where we're in a must win situation, right? So I think it came, first of all, I love the 2 buys. I don't like having buys in general because I love watching Michigan football. I'd love if we played every Saturday. But I think it just helps with everybody to take a little breather, fans, players, coaches, whatever. So, but I'm pumped to be back, especially, huge weekend. We're going to freaking Wrigley Field. This is awesome.
Yeah, I definitely love watching Michigan football too, but sometimes a bye week's nice to reset, watch some other games. As you know, when we tailgate, it's an all-day endeavor.
It's not
Even
everyone can
noon
do what we
games,
do.
even noon games, you're missing the first part of the slate of the games. So it was just nice to watch some other teams, and I'm excited for this weekend, man. It's going to be awesome. Got to figure out parking. Valet is a little pricey at the hotel we're at, so got to figure out what that looks like.
Chicago turns out not a cheap place to be.
Well, fun fact, I'm pretty sure that the city of Chicago sold its rights to parking to Saudi Arabia, so they just can charge whatever. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah. If there's anybody that wants to correct me, that's fine. I just have seen that. Not a great business deal.
Yeah. That's a wild thing to do. Not sure on the terms of that one, but either way, I'm excited. I think that it is just like a cool thing. I'd rather do this. One, obviously, I am a proponent of play college football games on college campuses. No doubt about that. We don't need everything, including the Wolverine Deacon Challenge, to be a challenge. I'd love to see that played at Chrysler and at Wake Forest.
But it was the second game of the classic.
It's a long-standing 12-month tradition of the Wolverine Deacon Challenge. Which shout out to the boys, and Dusty for getting that dub. It wasn't always pretty, but we got a basketball squad. So shout out to them. We'll talk about them in a minute here. I think this is if you are going to play not on a college campus, play it at a super historic place that is a super cool venue, not the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta for every non-conference game.
Yeah, this is one of those off-campus games that actually just makes a ton of sense. It's the most logical option for Northwestern football. But can I just say, did you watch the Oregon Northwestern game by chance, or any Northwestern home game this year?
It would have been electric.
Wouldn't it be awesome? There's 1,200 seats, but right on the shores of Lake Michigan. Can you imagine that game?
It low-key that would be unbelievable. First of all, the weather is supposed to be mid-60s for Saturday, which
Beautiful.
Is crazy for Chicago in mid-November. But when they play at that, at their practice facility, it looks like a backyard baseball game. That's what it looks like. If you could fit 20,000 people, though, that would have been an awesome venue for Michigan to be at. But Wrigley's going to be pretty sweet. I think just in general, Chicago being such a Big Ten hub and a Michigan alum and fan hub, I just think this weekend's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun to be. I love going to away games no matter what, because it's you're on the road, you're friends with every single person who's wearing the same colors as you are. But this one, it's a no doubter that it's just going to be majority Michigan fans.
Yeah, I think it's always that way, whether it's against Northwestern, whether it's, basketball when they're in Los Angeles for the NCAA tournament, right? All these different hubs throughout the United States that just have a ton of Michigan alums. I'm super excited. This will be my second time at Wrigley. Still have yet to see a baseball game at the friendly confines.
Wow.
Yeah, that's got to be some sort of
That's record. A football guy right there. That's a football guy.
First one's a concert. This one's a football game. So yeah, but I can't wait. It's obviously a historic venue. One of the coolest sporting stadiums in the world, in the country. Wrigleyville is awesome. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, man, I'm just really excited to get to Chicago. Took some PTO on Friday, gonna head on over, get some food, check out the city a little bit. I love Chicago. It's one of my favorite places. There's just so much to do. I think our hotel is like at a really good spot in downtown. And so maybe not for Saturday morning getting there, but we'll figure it out. And I'm excited for this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I want to talk about what we're doing this weekend before we get into like actually talking about the game. So Friday night we are at Sluggers. It's a Rick's takeover. We're partnering up with Champion Circle, our good friends over there. So we've got an NIL event. All the proceeds are going to Champion Circle of everything that, ticket sales, all that stuff. We've got a silent auction going. We're going to be doing a live podcast. We're going to have a ton of people join. I know Jared Wangler is going to join us to talk about NIL. Ian Bunting's going to talk a little bit of, former football, talk about fam. We'll just have a bunch of people there. Possibly Prez, possibly Dave Portnoy. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but he did post about it. So said it on FS1. That's got to be the first time I think that one of like an event that we're involved in has been mentioned on live TV, like cable TV.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think, unless you're generous and include the broader athletic events that we go to, then you're stretching it a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're probably right.
Either way, pretty cool. But it's going to be awesome. And I know they're working on like having Rick's fish bowls there. They've got the recipes coming. And we're going to have Woodson whiskey there as well, which is huge. So we'll have the Heisman available, which I've seen you have a few Heismans, Tanner, and I know those get dangerous. I'm going to be honest.
Look, man, I've had whatever Woodson whiskey options are at the bar. I just, I sample them throughout the day, whether that's the Heisman, whether that's some of the other options. Sometimes I'll have them put the Maize and Blitz in, right? Yeah. Sometimes I want a cinnamon old fashioned. Sometimes I want a cinnamon whiskey sour. So it just depends on the day and time.
They're all good.
Could be, at noon. If it's a night game like against Purdue, like, you know what? I'm gonna sip this a little bit, and then at 4:30, I've been drinking for 6 hours, and you know what? Maybe let's make it a double. Who knows?
That's when the possible bad decisions come into play.
Let's start going to the DJ, show them my Spotify, like, hey, can you play this Sabrina Carpenter for me? Whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, Friday night at Sluggers is going to be awesome. 6 to 10. Our podcast is going to be 7 to 8 there, but we'll be there all night hanging. So come hang out.
It's got to be our biggest live audience ever, right?
I would.
I'm a little nervous already.
Yeah, well, come on. We had Charles Woodson on. We did live with him. It was
like 7 minutes.
Yeah, right. Like
we fill 60 minutes.
60 minutes. I can talk for a while, but
we'll be all right.
Well, we will probably spoiler alert. We don't really like plan for any of these podcasts. We just kind of get on here and babble. We might have to plan for that one.
As you know, working with Jordan Stratt, Chris Wormley, a couple of pros.
Yes.
When I produced one of the episodes, Jordan's like, hey, I just emailed you the PDF I use, and it's just like a bunch of notes. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? What are you doing, man? You got to shoot from the hip like us. That's why he's in the profession, and we're just a couple of guys.
What is a run of show? I've never heard of that before. I have no idea.
And then I just used it. I ended up using it for Blue by the Numbers. So this is great. Like, I just send me yours every week, and we'll just use it because it's all the stats, everything. Like, this is great.
I will say, I got to give Jordan a shout out, and Caleb, I think, helped her with some graphic design. They're even printing us up some cue cards for this weekend. So
different Jordan. We have too many Jordans.
True. Sorry. Not Jordan Strack.
Not Jordan Strack. No, Jordan and Caleb, they do so much behind the scenes. And if you guys see him at tailgates, give him a drink.
Yeah.
Give him a shot.
Give him some love. Give him a hug. Talk to Caleb about the Cubs, big weekend for Caleb. Big weekend for Caleb. But anyways, so Friday night at Sluggers, This is where it could get a little dicey for us. Is we've got that event at Sluggers on Friday night, and then we got to be at Duffy's by like 7:30 a.m. at the latest on Saturday morning.
Do you know what's going on Friday night at 9:00 Eastern time?
What's that?
Michigan basketball plays TCU.
So
we're gonna have to figure it out.
We are going to have to figure that out. I think it's gonna be a hair of the dog morning for sure. Where I'm gonna get to Duffy's, order another Heisman of Woods and whiskey the next morning, and we just start ripping from right there.
And it's also Central Time, so we basically get an hour. So that game is actually 8:00, right? So when we get up, we got to be there at 7:30. It's actually 8:30, and then we're around.
We're basically time traveling at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I love it. So, but it's going to be a hell of a weekend. I want to give a shout out to FAM too, the Football Alumni of Michigan. If you can't make it to Duffy's, they've got an event going on at Moe's Cantina as well. So, supporting FAM is also something we love to do here at Blue by 90 as well. So check them out. Moe's is definitely, if you're trying to stick right around the stadium, that's the spot to go. Duffy's is a little farther out, but it's like a 10-minute drive. We're going to take Ubers and get as far as we can. And you know what? If it's 65 and sunny, I don't really give a shit. It's going to be fucking awesome. So, yeah. All right, let's talk about the game a little bit.
Okay.
Sneaky, I think all of a sudden, like kind of good game. Are you nervous?
No.
All right.
They're 5-4. We haven't had you and I haven't talked really since the post MSU pod with the bye week, and I had work travel and all these sorts of things. So when I talked to Brian, I actually looked it up. I don't know if you knew this, and obviously yards don't equate to points, and Ohio State beat Purdue by 24, Michigan beat them by 5, but Michigan actually held Purdue to the same yards per play defensively and had more yards per play on offense. Or maybe it was the other way around. Either way, they were about equal with Purdue. So, for Michigan, it's really more so where I'm nervous is just make the right decisions, right? I'm hoping after another bye week that Bryce is going to come back and we're going to see some improvement, because we saw a big jump after the first bye week in his play, and it kind of regressed a little bit. So that's where I'm a little bit nervous, right? Like, I think defensively, Michigan is really kind of coming into its own. And I just think that with this team, the offensive line, the run game, I think has been really good. It's just the pass game, right? And you have a true freshman quarterback and who's extremely talented. So you kind of have to figure that out. That's the only area that I'm like a little nervous about, but I think Michigan's going to win by 2 or 3 scores.
Yeah, I mean, I will say though, their losses are not bad losses. Like Tulane is a good ball club that they lost to in the opener. Lost to Oregon, who was obviously very good. Lost to Nebraska, who has played some good ball, also some not so good ball, and then lost to USC. And I know, I mean, they don't really have. They did beat Penn State, basically during their collapse, which is probably their like one good win. But I mean, they don't really have a good win, but every loss is not like a bad loss. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see. I don't think, here's what I'm going to say. I'm also not like sitting here like, oh man, I'm super worried. But I would say that I'm like, I don't want to just write this off as like, it's, to be honest, I felt like we wrote off Purdue, and then you look at it, it's a 5-point game and you're like, shit, so I'm trying to, and I know I have no effect on the game, but I'm trying to treat this as like a solid opponent, which I think that they are decent. And let's go kick some ass. Let's go play at 100%, at 100 miles an hour, and let's go win a fucking ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Northwestern, I think it's interesting because, obviously it's hard to know, 2 months ago, completely different team, right? But they got beat up by Tulane. And Tulane's not a bad team, but Tulane did just get smoked by UTSA the week after the Tulane-Northwestern game. Tulane beat South Alabama 33-31. So, like, They basically lost to every good team on their schedule, and then found a way to win some games. You know, that Penn State game was pretty ugly, but they found a way to win it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be, to your point, potentially a game where you're a little clenched, like you were against Purdue.
But
And
here's what I'm gonna say this right now. Like, you can't be, if you want to get momentum going into these last 3 weeks, going into Ohio State, Maryland, like, you need to have the pedal on the freaking metal. That's just where I'm at right now. Like, I am looking for everything to be like in sync. Listen, I'm not trying to be this guy that's like, all right, it's time, like, it's Bryce's time or whatever, but like we can only say, oh, he's a freshman quarterback for so long. I think it's like you've had a significant portion of the season, and this is not all on Bryce. So I just want to make that very clear. But like the offense as a whole, and you're like, all right, it's time to let this passing game click, and you can't just like milk the run game forever and ever. Although we have in the past, but I wanted to start clicking. That's where I'm at.
well, I would just like to say, blowing out Northwestern 2 weeks before the Ohio State Michigan game doesn't always work out. Last year, 2 weeks to the day before Michigan played Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio State beat Northwestern 31-7. A week later, Michigan beat Northwestern 50-6. So maybe the secret is to not beat them 2 weeks before; it's to beat them a week before.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
okay.
So I don't know if we
can we move.
I
this
feel like
game,
it's locked. I feel like we're locked in with Wrigley. I don't know what they got going on. Maryland wants to fly over, but
we'd have to really pull some stuff here.
I'm going to be honest. I started to like troll, and I was like, "Oh wait, Michigan played them the week after Ohio State played them." So, but to your point though, like remember after the Northwestern game, we were not necessarily confident, but it was like, "Hey, Michigan found something." Right. So you have this game, and then you go to Maryland, and then you come back home for senior day and the most important game on the schedule every single year. So to your point, can you find some things offensively? Because I think the run game's what, 250 and 270 the last 2 games. And Jordan Marshall looks to be an absolute dog. Like he's got some of that Blake Corum ability that we've talked about. And now he's got it's Purdue and Michigan State, but he's got some of that breakaway ability. So I think the run game, the offensive line, man, these kids, they're all like redshirt freshmen. They're coming.
They're not only are they coming, but they're here. If you look at the data, like I'm not a big like analytical guy, to be honest with you, but like there's some data out there about our offensive line that they're really freaking good. And our run game is unbelievable. And it's not, I think Jordan Marshall is amazing. I think Justice Haynes was amazing. But it starts up front, obviously. So I think that like, here's what I mean, we've talked about this in the past. Like I'm really, really excited about the future of our offensive line and our offense in general. But like right now, like let's put it together. And I think, let's be honest. I think I don't want to get this mixed up because I don't want to say like, oh, we need to go throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, right? But I would like to throw for like 200 some yards and 2 touchdowns while we run for 2 touchdowns and 200 as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is just like a little bit more balance, so that we aren't just sitting here after this game like the same way that we were after both MSU and Purdue, and we're like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to run the shit out of the ball forever and ever and ever. I want to have some momentum. I want Bryce to get in a rhythm and feel good coming out of this game.
We've seen it though. Like we've seen momentum. We've seen him get into rhythm, and then it just kind of fell off a cliff against Michigan State because the Washington game was his best game of the year. And then it just kind of took a nosedive against Michigan State. So I don't know. I think you're just going to see that from your, I know you hate hearing it, but your true freshman quarterback, because yeah, like I agree. And I said this on one of our other shows this week, but by the time he plays Ohio State, he's going to have played 11 games.
Right.
But so he's a freshman, but he's not necessarily a freshman, but also he doesn't have that, 9 months of an off season to grow, to work on his game, to learn and get better. So like, yeah, he's played a lot of games. Experience is invaluable, but he's still going to have some growing pains to go through. But man, I'll tell you what, I think with his running offense, you can finish the year 3-0, right? Like you got to play really well, but you can do it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be like you said, a nice day, mild, actually probably warm, maybe 65. I mean, I don't know, but
for mid-November, that's t-shirt weather, brother.
Right. Well, 65 degrees regardless. You go somewhere like that's normally warm and it's a little colder. You see the locals with coats. You see people with Midwest. They're just flip-flops. But it's going to be 10 to 20 degrees or 10 to 20 mile an hour winds. So just looking at the weather channel. Also, sunset at 4:30. That sounds depressing.
Is that what like Central Time is? I know
we're right on the edge.
Yeah.
It's the same tough. If you're out east, like Boston. I think the sun sets at like that time. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's going to be more nighttime, I guess, to go do whatever after the game.
Hey, well, the darkness will be upon us. No, I mean that is crazy that like it's an 11 a.m. game and only an hour after the game the sun's gonna set.
Yeah, it's gonna start getting dark at fourth quarter, like it's a 3:30 game at the best.
That's crazy. Let's talk about the defense for a second. I think that this is where I am still looking. It's kind of funny because after the USC game, everybody is just like, all right, it's time. Wink's got to go, blah, blah, blah. And then you're sitting here, in week 10, and you're like, oh, shit, actually, our defense is still really good, and Wink has a pretty damn good track record here at Michigan. So where are you at with what you want to see from the defense, not only in this game, but in the last three?
Yeah, I think I want to see a tighter rotation, especially up front. I think the drop-off when you go from a guy like Derek Moore, and obviously Jayshon Barham is kind of a chess piece that you can maneuver around the defense. So I don't necessarily consider him a true edge. But the drop-off from Derek Moore and TJ Guy really to anybody else is pretty substantial at this point. And it's not even just like it's not like they're bad players, but they just are not as consistent. There's more mistakes. There's a lot of times that you'll see a play that should be a sack or a short gain, and there's just bad pursuit angles, or we're getting upfield and allowing the quarterback to get outside the pocket from some of the younger players. So yeah, I mean at linebacker obviously there's no choice against Purdue because you have all the injuries. But even in the secondary sometimes I'm like, I would like to see Zeke and Jair get and they're getting the majority of the snaps, but like I don't necessarily need some of these other guys that are playing at the moment. Especially when you just think about Ohio State, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Oh, if we're talking Ohio State for sure, I wanted to ask you, like, do you think that he has done that for the future? Do you think he's done that for depth so that like if we do have injuries, at some point throughout the season, which you're 10 weeks in, obviously, so at this point, but do you think that does, like, when you get to an Ohio State type game, that he just like completely tightens that up and it's like, all right, we're going to get our rotation in?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can really think is like just development because, you want to see what guys have, but to your point, like we're 10 weeks in or 12 weeks in, have 10 data points of football games to be able to see what guys are. And obviously players are going to improve, but maybe not in 2 weeks. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I just thinking about the rest of the season through the lens of the Ohio State game. Like I really, again, if Michigan's up 31-0, okay, that's fine. But like against Purdue, you're up 4, right? Like in the second half.
What if? Yeah, I agree with that wholly for sure. Like if Michigan doesn't go get a first down, by running the ball in that last possession, all of a sudden you have to punt and a touchdown beats you, right? Yeah. So I agree with you there.
They played with the food a little too much in that game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that like I'll say this point in a second, but going back to just Wink and those guys, like what do you think about Ryan Day? Like he came out and was like, I
saw this.
Yeah, we're like, we haven't really put our foot on the gas completely, but we're ready to ramp it up. Like I have 2 questions. One, is Michigan doing that a little bit too with both sides of the ball? And the second question is just your thoughts on Ryan Day saying that.
It's a little bit easier to say that when you've been pretty dominant throughout the year, right? But also, like, I don't know, man, you kind of want to practice that. Like, oh, we're gonna, like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't understand what that actually entails. Like, are you gonna try to score more points?
Like
Okay.
you aren't score. You're like not trying to score every play. Like
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're trying to throw a Hail Mary every play, but like I mean, if every coach out there is not trying to score as many points and give up as few points as possible, then what are you doing?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily understand that. You know, and I don't know if that's maybe referring to saying continuing to learn the playbook. I don't know, man. Like, because I think it's one thing with like some of the things that have come out about Michigan from Biff or whoever of like, oh, we gotta, you know, can't take the air out of the ball, blah blah blah. But it's like that's by necessity, right? Like, so I don't necessarily understand what they mean or what he means by that. I just saw it and was like, again, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's just like a weird thing. I mean, unless you are going, like you said, like unless you're prepping to put up, you know, go back to 62 points on Michigan or something, you know, if you're actually going to hang 100, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know, it just feels weird of you like holding back, you know, anything. I mean, a lot of people have talked about like, I think just in general, I think the dumb thing that this is like a myth in college football that you like hold things back for your rival like later in the
And you
year.
do.
Obviously,
Or like
you
trick stuff.
yeah, but it's not like you're like not trying to win games every
Yeah.
game. Like you're not like, hey, we actually scored 20. We could have scored 35, but we didn't want to let Ohio State know that we could score 35. Like, yes, you are setting things up throughout the year with different plays, or you're waiting to show something until that game, for sure. But I think it's like if you asked a college football coach, like, hey, are you like, you know, not showing stuff? Are you saving stuff for that game? And they'd be like, no, we're running our offense. We're running our defense. Like this is how this works. And you progress through the year or throughout the season, right? Like that's my take on that. I think it's kind of a dumb like myth thing.
Yeah, I think more so what happens is you have things that you show on film, and then you have things that kind of counter off of that, right? Of different, not even just trick plays, but like different, just different ways the play can shape out on the same personnel, right? And
Yes.
and it's a trap play, for example, out of the run fits or whatever. So I
Or
think
it's
that
like, I mean, this is like a very basic example, but it's like, okay, we ran sweep out of this, you know, 50 times. Well, we're gonna run sweep reverse,
you
you
break
know, this time.
tendencies, and
Right. Like,
it's a game where you break tendencies more than like you just have things like, yeah, of course, like Michigan has had multiple passes from Donovan Edwards against Ohio State, right? And they had the thing last year to Kendrick Bell that threw it, I
yeah,
think, and it got a PI. So you had Khalil Mullings throwing the ball in 2022. Like you had the Alex Orji package in 23. So like you have, and Donovan Edwards threw a pass in that game as well to I think it was Loveland
yeah.
that was late in that game and got them a field goal. So you have all these smaller things that kind of come up in there, maybe a huge play, but they're a very small part of what you're actually hiding, right? But and we've seen Michigan kind of come out with some things like against Nebraska. They've had the bubble screens, and I'm sure that Matt Patricia's, when he's coming into this week, like, hey, just know that on this bubble they did throw it against Nebraska,
Right.
right? Like you have all those sorts of things. So, but it's just it's a chess match is what
Yeah.
it's going to be. And Wink won last year. That was one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen at Michigan.
By far.
Yeah.
Wink like outsmarted literally everybody in that whole stadium that day.
I think it was more so that he was just very basic. And so that's one thing that I didn't mention earlier. What I want to see from Wink is a continued just basic defense.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to be exotic. You don't need to come up with the blitzes. Now I do think Ryan Day has learned his lesson, and I don't know if he's just going to run into a 5 or 6 man box again. But here's the thing, Justin. Ohio State can't really run the football.
I know.
They average 4.5 yards an attempt, which is not. It's okay. It's not great.
I know. I think that if they, I don't know. That to me is like, I think, a conundrum where, first of all, I think Ryan Day just puckers up no matter what because it is the game, right? And I think last year he tried to outsmart himself a little bit, right? Where he's like, all right, we got to get back to running the ball. We got to establish it, blah, blah, blah. And then we just had Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant eat everything right there. And he was like, well, what's happening? So if they try to do that again to try to establish it, like, we're going to take it. But there's no way that he does that again, right?
There's no way that he does that. Unfortunately, I think they did have a coming to Jesus moment, which has worked out for them. But again, who knows? Maybe in those big moments, you revert to what you've done in the past, right? So yeah. I don't know, because it's weird. Like, they throw the ball all over the place. And then the last couple of years, like, they've come in and they just, I don't know. They just haven't been able, with Stroud, they still wanted to throw the ball, but Michigan was just able to come up with some big stops. But in 23 and 24, like, they really wanted to set the tone and run the ball. And they've had like one drive in the last two games where they were actually able to run the ball and have success and get a touchdown. Otherwise, they got shut down completely.
Well, and I think then they just like, here's what I would say. I think Ryan Day is to passing the ball as Sharon Moore is to running the ball. And it's just like, when nothing's working, all right, we're going to run power. That's Sharon Moore. And then when Ryan Day is like, nothing's working, all right, we're going to run a crossing route. Like, or I'm just going to throw it to Jeremiah.
Unless it's against Michigan.
Unless
like, I don't understand that. So that's the thing. Like, did he learn his lesson? Because I think you replay that game last year, and if they just like throw the ball every time, like, they probably have a much better shot of winning than trying to run into Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant.
I mean, yeah. Also, by the way, Ohio State is 69th in the country in rushing offense.
Nice.
Michigan is 11th. Like, 69th with an offensive line that is unbelievable and a passing game that is insane to set it up. Like, and with good running backs. Like, I don't think they have bad. I think that I don't think
the true freshman's good. Bo Jackson.
Yeah,
the other guys don't do anything for me.
I know, but they're good enough. Like, I'm telling you, like, they would be good enough behind that offensive line. Like, that's an elite offensive line. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Bryson Cusdall is averaging 5.3 yards in a 10. You know what I mean? So
throw him in. Shout out Bryson Cusdall too, because he runs the ball for
nice hard. Runs against Purdue.
Dude, I love that for him. But I mean, that was like very reassuring for me, because you just don't know when you get down to your third and fourth string guys. And
I think both him and Parker are serviceable. Parker's a true freshman. I thought he had some decent runs against Purdue. Cusdall had two really nice runs that led to a first down on that. I believe it was that last drive to help milk the clock, which is, I don't know what's going on with Justice. I mean, there's been a lot of message board stuff, and we've heard things, and other people have heard things. I can't imagine he's going to be back in Michigan uniform unless Michigan makes the playoffs. So
I would agree with that. I don't know.
Stinks.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything, but I mean, there's just how many foot surgeries can you have? Broken foot surgeries, essentially, that can you have with, and then be back 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later? Like, they're just.
Do you have more than one?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, like, yeah.
I'm saying, how many of those injuries out there exist where you are back in a month? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But Jordan Marshall, man, is looking the part. So to your point, obviously the run game, I think, is really hitting its stride. You want to see the pass game, because obviously being complementary and being able to hit on play action, open up the middle of the field for Bryce, make things easier on him, I think would be huge. So, and they could just play off one another, right? The run game and the pass game, like, you obviously have the play action, but also, like, if you're getting beat through the air, the thing you do is you spread out a little bit. You bring in a nickel or a dime package, so you have more corners on the field, and then you can have your road graders get out and get to the second level and have an easier block. So, obviously that's football, no shit, but it would be nice to see.
It would be nice to see. I also want to see, like, and this is like, I feel like we're banging our head against the wall, to be honest here, but I want to see Bryce pull it. I think we're sitting here, obviously, like, number one goal is have Bryce healthy for Ohio State, right? That gives us the best chance to win. There's no doubt about that. But you have to have him be involved in the run game for this Michigan offense to be at its peak. And so that's what I'm looking for too. And I think there's a way to do that and still be safe, right? Like, obviously you're prone to getting hurt on every play in football. That's just the reality, and so if he can pull it, and then just like, if we just have a rule for him, it's like, hey man, like, you just got to get down. Like, don't try to get an extra yard. Don't try to jump over anybody. Don't try to take, I loved it when he did it the first game or whatever, that I can't remember what game it was, where he lowered his shoulder, but like, don't do that. Like, we need you. So I'd love to see him get involved in that while still being super safe.
Yeah, I mean, I think, just a couple of runs over the next 2 games each is fine with me. Yeah, I'm with you. Keeping him healthy. I mean, the alternative's not great at quarterback in terms of whoever it is, because Davis is still hurt. Like, shout out Davis. He dressed.
He's dressed,
and that was great to see. But
yeah,
Bryce, like, that. I mean, unless Mikey Keene, well, I don't know what's going on with that, to be honest. So let's just hope Bryce is okay. Let's just keep him upright.
Here's what I'm gonna say is whether regardless of the talent of any of those guys, they literally haven't taken a snap.
No.
So that, other than Jaden Davis. So I would rather have the guy that's taken basically all the snaps than guys that have taken less than 1% of the snaps.
Yeah.
That's going to be where we're at. I think the biggest thing here for me that I am looking to see in this ball game, I alluded to it earlier a little bit, but you can't just get up by 14 points and milk the clock in the second half. And even if it's in the first half, whatever, put the foot on the gas and try to go win a ball game 38-10. That's what I want to see. I want to see this team be able to pull away and, convert when it's like, okay, our defense just got to stop for the, X amount time. Let's go score here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's one thing from the Jim Harbaugh era I would like to get away from, is just that, unless it's like, 35-0, whatever, that's fine.
Unless you're the Python, unless you can do the Python thing.
Yeah, like, if you go to 8-minute drive, like, remember the Michigan Rutgers game in 23 at the Big House, and it was 31-7 with like 9 minutes left, and they just ran the clock out. Yeah, dude, that shit's cool. Like, I love taking somebody's will, but it was also, basically a 3.5 score game, right? Because it's 24 points, and nobody's getting 3 straight 2-point conversions. So, but yeah, I would like to see a little more aggression. I did like that in the Michigan State game, right? I mean, I know you're running the ball, but Jordan Marshall breaks one and he doesn't go down. Against Purdue, he does, right? Like, I like that. But yeah, man.
I don't care. Like, I'm not a box score watcher, so I'm not sitting here like, oh, you need to cover the spread, or it needs to look like a good win. Although it does help, because who our box score watchers are? The freaking college football playoff committee, because they don't actually know ball. So you do low key kind of need to do that to give yourself a chance. Now Michigan's in the position where it's like you either win or you don't, and there's really no other option. But I want us to feel like I want this team to leave Wrigley on Saturday and feel like, okay, we just pummeled somebody. We felt really good doing it. And then sports are weird, man. Momentum goes into Sunday, which goes into Monday at practice. And then you just you build on it every freaking day. And so I think, there's just after that Purdue game, and even after the end of the MSU game, you're sitting there, I know it probably happens way more on the message boards and with fans rather than in the locker room, but there's something to that of hey man, we just beat the shit out of them. Let's we looked good doing it. We felt good doing it. Let's go do it again.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. Can we pivot? There's something I want to talk about.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Can we just have a good laugh
about our friends down the road.
The hammer was coming all along. Spiro, the dude with the third eye pyramid profile picture, that whole crew. I don't know. They just come up on my Twitter because Twitter sucks now because you just get all this nonsense.
Yes.
Just hilarious. I'll be honest. I was working and I didn't see it until it got sent to our group chat. That's hilarious. Also, I was going to tweet the exact same thing from the account before I looked because I was like, I don't know what is worse, getting 3 years of wins vacated or 3 years of wins equaling 14. I don't know what's worse.
Or like, honestly, the reminder that it was that bad that you only won 14 games in 3 years might be worse. But that was just so funny that like you're sitting here like, oh, they got these wins vacated. There wasn't a significant win in the 3 years.
There was. Do you know what it is?
What?
The season opener in 2023 against the Central Michigan Chippewas and Connor Stallions. That is the funniest shit I've heard a lot.
That is a significant win. I mean, the full circle moment to that game being actually called a no contest is so funny. And Connor Stallions is literally on Twitter right now, like running laps around everybody. I mean, just unbelievable the way that this turned out. I mean, this is I'm sure people are like actually mad on MSU message boards and whatever.
Well, yeah, I'd be mad.
I'm sure, but like I think it is objectively funny, a very funny outcome because of
maybe stealing signs does help. You know, now CMU technically didn't. Well, I guess I think CMU still gets so any of the teams that they beat still have the loss on their record. MSU just doesn't have the win.
Okay.
So they finished what 0-8 last year. I don't know.
Well, and now Jonathan Smith,
poor guy.
I mean, honestly,
what did he do?
Honestly, poor guy. He's sitting here like already probably going to be fired. Has 0 wins technically by the record books in his tenure at Michigan State. 0 Big Ten wins. Sorry, and they have like recruiting violations up the wazoo now. So like honest to God, like I don't feel bad for Spartans that very often. There are a select few that aren't total assholes out there that I actually kind of feel bad because your program's just like it doesn't get worse than this, man. You're already like just you have 0 momentum about anything in the program. Now you're still trying to figure out the Mel Tucker situation. You are going to have a buyout of Jonathan Smith, which is going to be very costly unless you can figure out that this is a cause thing. I don't know. And in the future, the new coach, whoever it is, comes in already with recruiting violations and you're like half hand tied behind your back.
It's just amazing. I mean, there's only one other thing that could happen in terms of like this that would just and you know what you guess what that is. The other school involved, I should say. Yeah. It's just hilarious, man. The same people that were just championing the NCAA for the last year and a half, 2 years until the decision came out. And then now I see a lot of what about this or that, and it's just hilarious because those same people were like, well, you can't say that. You cheated. You can't say that. Also, did you realize that MSU beat CMU with Connor Stallions on the sideline 31-7? I didn't even know the score of that game. So you mean to tell me that that's what signs do?
Right. Exactly.
This whole thing is just
that's actually that's a great point, and it's the funniest part of it. Like if or you know what somebody actually said, I thought was that and this is totally made up. I can't imagine that this is true, but it was like 14-7 in the first half, and then Stallions left at halftime, and it ended up being 31-7 or something. Like, first of all, how do you know that? Like, there's no way to know that at all. And anyways, it is just objectively funny. What's even funnier? My dad literally just texted me and said, "I feel terrible for Sparty," with the 2 laughing emojis.
That is the man. That guy, just good vibes all around. To be fair to that person, though, it was 10-7.5, and then they won 31-7. So I don't know, but I mean, maybe Stallions went to the other side.
Maybe. Who's to know?
He had the metaverse glasses on. He's in the metaverse. I don't know. Maybe they had like a camera planted. Maybe they should have like an iPad just like strolling around the sideline, like with him FaceTiming it from a discrete location. That might be the move.
That might be the move. Is that illegal? No. I mean,
you can't have an iPad guy on the sideline.
Yeah, come on.
Fuck. Yeah. But just hilarious. I mean, I don't care. Michigan won all those games anyways. The only way it would have been funnier in this right now is if 2021 was included, because that would have. That's the thing though. Like real quick with the thinking about vacating wins. Like, does it make you feel better? It's funny, but that's it.
Louisville's 2013 win is vacated in the national championship in basketball versus Michigan. It's not like I'm like, oh, we won that game. Like I watched the game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and Luke Hancock.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him drill fucking 12 threes on us. It was ridiculous. But no, I'm like, it's still a stupid thing because it doesn't like mean anything. I mean, if you were to possibly win a title during that and it gets vacated and stripped, like that could be different a little bit, but you still watch the games. Like I don't know. And I think like. This goes back to my whole argument on sign stealing is like everybody's doing something, man. Like if you think that your program is clean, I'll tell you right now, I don't care who you are. It's not fully clean. Everyone is doing, pushing the boundaries to try and gain an advantage in some fashion.
In every sport ever.
That is
sports, business, life. This is just how we are. It's human nature.
It's what people will do a lot of shit to win and gain an edge on the competition, man. So, yeah. So, I mean, objectively funny. I think that like the funniest part to me going to wrap this up, put a bow on it, is like you have this doesn't mean anything because you never won a significant game.
Yeah, are you even that mad about it?
Like it doesn't even matter because you were so bad during this time. Like, which is probably why they didn't even fight it. They're like, we're not gonna spend money on lawyers right now to like appeal anything, which is like, just give it to us. We don't give a shit. We'll move on. Like nobody cares.
Yeah. So it is they had that Iowa win. They beat Rutgers they beat Illinois in 2022. I mean, they had some wins in there.
I mean, actually, Illinois was good in 2022. Like,
yeah,
solid.
That was.
Didn't they come back
from
to
the
win?
Seahawks, the corner, Witherspoon.
Yeah,
he's a stud. They had some really good ball players. Yeah. So just I don't know, man. Remember the 14.
Remember the 14.
It's It's the week of the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I bought John U. Bacon's book, The Gales of November. I've read a couple pages. I'm gonna get to it.
That's big of you. I'm really proud of you for reading those pages. That's pretty cool.
So remember the 14 in the same way that you remember the Fitzgerald.
Hang the banner. All right. Let's end on a good note here. Yes. I do want to say for Purdue, we put out some stuff obviously that Luke from Dream on 3 and his dream did come true, and I gotta just say, like, it was one of the more awesome experiences that I've ever been involved in, and I want to give a shout out to Sherelle Moore and his assistant Paige and every coach. I just want to say, like, so we just to give you an idea of what happened. We obviously had Donovan on here, and he kind of surprised Luke with that he was coming to practice. And then we went to practice on Friday before the Purdue game, and it was just unbelievable. Like I had some expectations of like, oh, like I've been to practice and like, you stand on the sideline and like, I was like, oh, they're going to, a couple, like I was like, oh, hopefully Bryce and Donovan and some guys will have some time to like come over and say hi. Like, that's it. And then like before practice, even, we're getting a tour. Sharon brings us into his office. Biff Poggi brings us into his office, and it's just like every coach is taking the time to say hi to Luke and make his day, like make him feel like he is literally a VIP, like the coolest person ever. And then we get to the end of practice. Donovan actually, the one video of him, which is so funny, of where he was supposed to be on the field and he was hanging out with Luke on the sideline, and then he gets yelled at and like sprints away back to on the field. But so like guys are coming over all practice long to say hi, whatever. Then we get to the end of practice and Sharon brings Luke onto the field and brings him into the huddle. And that's when Bryce kind of took over and is like, all right, we're running this play. You line up next to me. I'm going to hand it off to you. You're going to go score a touchdown. And I just want this is hard for me to describe. I know a lot of people saw it on social media, but like I've seen those where, they part the sea and whatever. It's always pretty good. Every player was like so dialed in, like defense is just diving all over the place, in front of him, and Luke's juking, and like the whole team just goes and basically dogpiles him and then lifts him up. And like, I just can't say enough. I mean, the moment was unbelievable to watch. Like, it was like the most heartfelt moment, and you all saw that on Instagram and everything. But like, can't give enough thanks to the coaching staff, the players, everybody in that building who just like took so much more time than they really needed to with Luke, and just a really cool moment. So I want to say thank you. And just we then went on Saturday, got to go on the field pregame. All the guys came over, said what up to Luke. Sharon came over, gave him a hug, all this stuff. And then we sat on the 50-yard line, and Luke had an amazing day. Never seen a more tired kid walking out of that stadium, because he had a hell of a 48 hours.
Yeah, well, so if you go to the Dream on 3 website and you go to the Dreamers tab, Luke and his story are right up there. Yeah, I mean, as a parent, just seeing how much of an impact that made, and just being able to meet Luke and his family, and just how awesome the whole experience was. I mean, you remember this when Luke was leaving the tailgate, he was hugging everybody. Like he hugged the entire, just everyone that was at the tailgate. Yeah, it was just really cool, and just having a small part in that, because I know you help with a lot of it, but just having a very small part in that was extremely special. And because I know for me, being a dad, like how much that would mean to me. So just how cool it was for Luke and his family was awesome, man. So glad he got to go experience that. I was reading a little bit about it, and some Pinball Pete's, like just the whole works, man. Hit up Ann Arbor. I'm sure got some great food. Obviously, the folks over at the Graduate did an amazing thing for us as well on that. So just a huge group effort. Like I said, just a small sliver, the part that I played, but it was extremely happy to play it, and excited to see how that all went for him.
Yeah, I think like to wrap this up here with that, it's like so many people with like that they didn't have to do what they did, and they did it. There wasn't like this big advantage to gain because of it. It was just people doing things out of the kindness of their hearts. And I think it's just really cool that the people at Michigan football and in the community in Ann Arbor, make that a priority. So we appreciate it.
Also, how about, is one of those pictures just Sharon giving him a hug on the sideline? That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that awesome? Like, I mean, seriously, like they're prepping for a game, and like Sharon and Biff are taking time with him, like literally minutes before a game, and it was just so cool.
Luke also had, because Sharon's got some nice kicks. See him pull them out. Luke has some nice Jordan 4s, man. I was complimenting him. He had that shit on, man.
He was styling. I said he was like the most maize and blue guy of all time. Like, just had it all on. I loved it.
Can I just say real quick on that note, because I don't know if anyone that listened to that or watched that, went to the Dream on 3 website, but man, how fucking cool, pardon my French, but how cool is it that, a couple weeks ago you click on it, it describes what his dream is. and now you click on it and he lived through that. Like, that's awesome. It's just so cool to see that. And I hope that other kids get to experience their favorite college teams or their favorite pro teams and have those memories with their mom and dad and their family. Like, that is just an awesome organization, and all the things that they do. They were extremely lovely in the short interactions that I had with them. So from the Dream on 3 team, obviously Luke's family, they were amazing as well. It was just an awesome thing to see a little bit of from the outside looking in, because you were the man on the field. Now I did get I was on the 50.
You were on the 50.
We were living it up.
I love it. It was very cool. Just to literally like see Luke just taking it all in, which is pretty sweet. And Dream on 3, amazing organization. I've been talking to their CEO now, and working on how can we do bigger things with them. So I'm super excited for the future. If you have the means, if you feel that you are willing to do it, we appreciate it. Go to dreamon3.org and click the donate there, so that they can continue to make these amazing dreams come true. So all right, with that, Wrigley Friday at Sluggers, Saturday at Duffy's. We're going to be drinking Woodson whiskey all week long. We are going to be hanging out with Feldman Chevrolet of Highland as well. So go to Feldman Chevy of Highland.com. Check them out. They've got some great deals going on right now too. I can't wait. Wrigley's going to be awesome. Michigan takeover in Chicago. Shout out Champion Circle too. I don't know if you saw, but they put out some fire merch as well. They've got like a Wrigley style, what was it? Chicago style Michigan football, like a Chicago style hot dog shirt that they've got, and the white Michigan versus everybody, which is flames. So I'm pretty pumped about that. They'll have that available at Sluggers on Friday night, and it's available at ChampionCircleNILstore.com right now too. So go check that out.
I'm looking at it right now, man.
You're in.
I'm locked in.
I think he's entering his credit card information right now.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. For us, you can follow us at Blue by 90 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Blue by 90 Podcast on YouTube, and BlueBy90.com. We appreciate you. Go Blue.
Go Blue.